still, yeah.
If it's twice as good.
Yeah.
News County was doing an experiment
I
last year.
remember
Don was part of that.
it was a few years back, when I was supervisor before, I went to, something the MTA put on, and there were some supervisors from Kalamazoo area that, they experimented with putting it down and then going back and doing the 28%, put it down, come back like 2 weeks later and put it down again, and that was better than doing the 90% or,
Me, probably.
that was an option that, you know, you could do too if you thought you needed to
They didn't.
make it better than.
Yeah, they didn't wait for it to wear out, they said.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah.
We got one,
Yeah,
Wilkinson.
all right. You making a motion for that?
Yep, I'll make a motion, we hire Wilkinson to put the chlorine on the roads, gravel roads.
Is there,
I'll second.
are we doing double pass, single pass?
We've done double pass for
Double
the
pass,
last
each
2 or
lane,
3
yes.
years.
Okay. All right. Motion made,
I second.
you'll second it, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. June 2025 cleanup day schedule.
Usually it's like the second weekend of June. Is that the 14th, I think? Or- I'm not sure.
13th, 14th, 14th is Saturday.
So this is,
That's what I'm saying, just the second.
look here.
That work for you, Andrea? Basically, it's gotta work for you.
Yeah, but that-
Yep.
14th
Flag
Saturday.
Day on Saturday.
Flag Day, the 14th of June.
Do we have a greater grant this year, Mrs. M, or not?
No, we do not have a tire grant. However, anybody that wants to get rid of tires, Chippewa Loose Mackinac Conservation District acquired a grant, and they have locations in Loose Mackinac, Chippewa County, where you can get a voucher and drop off tires. So it is available if somebody wants to make the extra effort, just not right here this year. But we do have money left in our electronics recycling grant, and I'm thinking again of doing that later in the summer, like July, maybe early August or something. That seemed to go pretty well. They loaded up to the gills 2 big trucks.
Did we need to make a motion in that?
For the cleanup day?
Cleanup day. Did we do that?
Yeah.
All right, make a
Doesn't
motion, we pick the 14th of June, Saturday. I'll have a
I'll
second.
second it.
All right, motion made, seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carried.
9
Three.
AM to 1.
9 AM to 1.
And we'll get a hold, Andrew, you'll get a hold of Scrapper Jack and
Okay. EMS fees for service increase proposal.
I provide you with a copy of, from the billing company, of our current rates, the state of Michigan average, and then rates from around the area. And also on the front page that I gave you, I put what I proposed our rates to change to, what they currently are to what I'd like, what would suggest that they be changed to. Again, it's totally up to you guys, but. And again, something to always keep in mind, and I put it at the bottom, but just to reiterate again, that no matter what we set our rates at, we're not gonna get it. It's all, you know, and the insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid, will only pay so much, and we have to accept whatever they pay as,
What's the difference between ALSE and ALS2?
okay. So the difference between ALSE and ALS2 is the amount of procedures that are actually done in the back of the ambulance. Like if there's a lot more, multiple procedures. For example, we had a patient, and I'm just using this as an example, who had hip pain. We treated her for the hip pain and she was nauseated. But then we also found that she was in respiratory distress. So then we also did multiple breathing treatments and we did steroids and all that. So it's multiple versus singular
Okay.
events. Does that make sense?
Yep.
What is TNT?
Treat, no transport. That's if you call us over to your house and your wife fell and she needs some bandages. So we bandage up her arm and she says, I don't want to go to the hospital. And we do a set of vitals, make sure she's okay, and we leave her there. And then there's also, if you read the bottom of my page, or the lift assist, we never charged before. I thought we made this change a long time ago, but according to the building company, we are currently charging $0 for being called to people's houses to lift them up, get them out, get them onto the chair. And we talked about, the insurance companies, some of the insurance companies and Medicaid, not Medicare. Medicare won't pay anything. Medicaid will pay, they said up to $150. Some of the insurance companies like Blue Cross will pay a few hundred. And so it's kind of money we've been leaving and not collecting that would help bring up the bottom line a little bit. Especially, again, we're going to have those issues where people can't afford it and we'll have to write it off. And it's the same, but at least this way we can try to recoup some of it. Because as you know, just to pull out our ambulance cost us about $200 just to pull it out the door with a crew on it. So we want to kind of recuperate some of the money, So that's why, like the lift assist, I put $200 because that's about how much it costs to pull that rig out and use it.
Well, the lift assist is that,
It's not a treat, no transport because we're not really treating the patient. We're not, doing vitals and doing, all the other stuff that we would normally do.
so you're just showing up and doing something in their house and that's it?
Right. And like, for example, just the other day, we had one where she came home from the hospital and the husband couldn't get her out of the car to get her in the house because she had a broken leg. It was all in a cast. And she was a good sized lady and, her husband, they were both elderly. So we had to go and pull her out of her car, put her in a wheelchair, take her in her house, put her in her chair, and that's kind of what we did. And that's what we're, kind of talking about.
I think we should duplicate Manisteek's rate. Be the same as that.
The mileage is 11 to 17.
What's that?
The mileage is 11 to 17.
Right, we're way behind, and actually, Pat and I were talking about this the other day, that actually might be even lower than what it's supposed to be. Because we're considered super rural, and we believe you can charge up to 23 instead of 17. And we were only charging 11.
There's a .226 bonus, let's say, that's added on to the fees because we're so rural. So, and I think really it's the billing company that needs to make sure that they know that we are considered super rural. 'Cause
Right.
if they don't know, I tried to find it online and there are thousands.
So that's why, and, trying to go into the state average, we're pretty low on some of the stuff that, it's been 10, 15 years since we did this last time. Because I think I was captain then, when we did the last And I don't know, and I don't think it's been done since then.
The one thing we have to remember though here is, you look at the payer mix, I think is what they call it. And slightly more than 50% of all our runs are either Medicare or Medicaid. Fortunately, we do have other people that have a term they call platinum coverage, where if we bill $1,000 for the run, we get paid $1,000 for the run. But we have to keep in mind that even if we're billing $1,500 for a run, Medicare is only going to pay that amount plus the mileage. And then it becomes problematic that when the balance doesn't get paid, people keep getting bills and it gets a little frustrating.
Then we gotta write it off.
Yeah, and we have a policy right now that we write off, I think, $200 or less. And sometimes that's the difference on a Medicare or Medicaid, because Medicare will pay 80% on your, I think it's Plan A. And if you have supplemental Medicare coverage, that will pay the other 20% of the reasonable and customary $785. So, I'm just letting you know that we'll see some increase, but, we're not gonna get,
Right, it's not gonna make us,
no,
Flush
we're not
it.
gonna double our income.
but it's gonna,
It's gonna help.
it'll help.
Because even if you look on an average downstate, the vast majority of communities down there have a far smaller Medicare, Medicaid percentage in their payer mix. So they can be charging these higher amounts and getting paid those higher amounts.
So what happens to the person who has no coverage?
They get billed, and if they, well, it's one of two things. If after the X amount of time that Acumed bills and doesn't get responses or whatever, they reply, we get a letter saying, what do you want done with this? And we send it to collection. Many times those people will then finally contact the township and say, hey, I can't afford this. And I just ask that you write a letter asking the township to forgive the debt. I figure if somebody's gonna go that far, and the board has made that a policy, same with fire calls, that we take it off.
But if we bill $900 for a run, and say they wanted to pay it, insurance company only pays us
Let's say 700 for an easy
$700.
one.
Do we
Yeah.
ask the people for the 900 or the 700?
They get, the bill that they get, ultimately, gets billed off to the insurance first, and anything that's left then gets billed to them.
Well, if they don't have insurance, is there a
It's
higher
billed.
pay rate?
They would pay the 900 or the 700?
They would pay whatever the billed rate
Yeah,
is that we have.
the 900.
Yeah.
They pay the 900.
Again, they're able to call and say, hey, I don't know what anybody's personal situation is or their coverage, but a lot of times, the few times that people have called, I've said, we can work with you. We had somebody that paid $50 a month for a number of years. We let them pick. But there are things like lift assist and treat no transport that would leave it on the table. And that's an area that we could get some extra revenue into.
Fine with
I make a motion then, we mirror Manistique's rates and also add the lift assist to, we're getting zero now, I think $100.
My only question is on the Manistee rate would be the ALS 2, if we could make that 1,000 instead of 975. Just because that's the extra procedures, plus we have to pay for the box, the medications and everything. So we just want to make sure we're covered with the additional stuff. It's totally up to you.
Which one?
ALS 2,
You want another $25?
yeah.
You want to fathom what those boxes are when we exchange them, it's probably $5,000 worth
Well,
of.
that,
drugs
we
and
only have to
box.
pay
We get
usually
charged,
50 or
we
100
get
bucks.
$25 for every
Right, box,
box update, and they bill us quarterly.
right.
And I have yet to see a bill from Schoolcraft.
Well, we're already
I-
raising it $175 on that particular line item. I make a motion, we just go with Manistee rates and add the lift assist at $100.
Lift assist at 100?
0 to 100.
A gentleman the other day asked me ahead of time what it is, and I said, I thought we had it on the books, and I said, I think it's between $250 and $300.
Yeah.
And he had no, not that he had no problem with it, but he said because he paid it somewhere else.
Yeah. How many do we do a year?
We do a lot of lift assists.
Yeah, we
That's
do a lot
probably
of treatment
25%.
transport.
25% of our calls.
And are they residents?
Yes. Well, a good
There's-
majority.
We're already dinging them on the millage, so that's why I don't feel that that should
Okay.
be. We're not trying to gouge anybody.
No.
And you don't wanna make it too high where people can't afford to pay it, so at $100, I think that's sufficient for now. We can
Okay.
look at it again next year or two
Yeah.
and see how we're doing. So, again, my motion is mirror Manistee's rates, adding the lift assist to $100.
And the mileage, you want Manistee's $14 instead of,
Yep.
I'll second Steve's motion.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Abram, I didn't hear you.
yeah.
Yes? All right, motion carried, unopposed. EMS recommendation for a new E AED.
The community center, this AED here, it's about 20 years old. We did call them, call Zoll. Zoll bought the cardiac science, which is what the monitor was here. They went out of business, cardiac science. They got bought out by Zoll probably 10, 15 years ago. We opened up a ticket. They said they would repair it if that's what you want, but they don't recommend it. They said it's gonna be about, for them to look at it, it'll be like $490. And then plus shipping it to them, along with about $220 an hour plus parts. So by the time you add all that up, who's to know where we're gonna be? Their letter, I included the letter from Zoll in there. And then I gave some options of some AEDs. And again, if they want to go with the same one that's at Fish and Hunt Shop and the school here, that's the Physio, not the Phillips, but the Physio. And there's an example of that one in there. We might want to keep them all the same, so, maybe replace the batteries and all that kind of stuff will be. Because the batteries are, usually last about 4 years, so they say.
Okay.
Because it turns out the problem that ours was beeping was not the battery.
Correct.
It was the machine saying I'm old and
Yeah.
bad.
Correct. We thought it was the battery, so we hurried up and bought another battery, slapped it in, and we're like, wait. It's like, sorry, that's not the problem. So then we called them, and they're like, nope, that's not the problem.
So the price to replace it,
Well, we can, I kind of gave you some ideas there. Once you just tell me which kind you want, we can call them then and try to get some better pricing from some reps.
I'd say go with the same as what you have in the other locations.
I agree.
And that's what I wanted to make sure before,
You did a nice job with this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure before we, spend a couple $1,000s that,
Is this Physio one that's affiliated with Stryker?
yes. Stryker bought a Physio.
Do much, we do have a good Stryker.
And that's why I thought we'd talk to her and
Yeah.
get
I make a motion that we replace with a AED similar to what we have.
the Physio.
Where are you gonna keep it? Is it gonna be in that cold hallway?
No,
or-
that's gotta be moved.
That, I was gonna call and find out how much that box cost.
I believe it was $2,000 or more.
It can't be, it's gotta be at a maintained, like all electronics, it has to be maintained at above 33, below 110 temperature. Well, in the hallway, it gets below freezing. And so where they put that there,
It was supposed to be put on this wall with a hole cut in it.
but nothing ever
That
got
was
done.
It never got done.
So it can't go where it is now, even if we,
Well, I know that was the whole purpose, you want it accessible to people 24/7.
right.
You're gonna have to put it
It could-
outside and it needs a heated box then.
I think
Or
it could
air
go there
cool box
if it was
too.
put in right.
So that's something else
It's
on top
all
of
the
it,
time.
but that was supposed to have been done with this box, is it was supposed to be put on this side wall with a hole cut in so that it would get warmth from the garage.
So that's something we still need to do then.
Yeah. Use that or buy the $2,000 box.
That'd buy a $2,000 box, yeah.
It might be cheaper than cutting a hole in the wall. wall.
Yeah. And it needs an electrical outlet as well, right?
Yes, it's powered all the time, it's,
Which we
air
have
and
in the
heat.
hallway.
So, yeah, something to think about there too.
Okay.
But, so, yeah, if we go with the same that we got for the school and we got for Fish and Hunt,
Yeah, I'm familiar with the one at school, so I'd be familiar with this one and the one down, yeah. If you got me something new, I
right,
Yeah.
wouldn't have a
the
clue.
school knows inside.
right.
Yes, it's inside right across the office.
Right, you have a motion, you need a second.
So we have a motion to, we don't have a price though. He's gonna work on that. I'm gonna move forward on getting,
You wanna say,
Less than $2,000, huh?
well, this is 22.
Okay, say that,
So-
less than 22.
Less
But I will, as soon as I get a firm price from rep, I
okay,
will send it to you.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor of buying a new AED
How much money are we getting?
up to $2,200, say aye.
Aye.
Can you get it for that, Brad? Cause it's more than that in here.
Yeah, we're pretty sure we can find the rep and
Okay,
get a better price.
you're comfortable with that?
Because, yeah, we know somebody in our community that's actually retired from there that can give us a hand, we believe.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carried. Next is museum staffing proposal.
Our little museum has been sorely neglected, and we have numerous volunteers that have helped out, all of which are either moving away or have moved away, or health it's problematic. I'm wondering if we can find money in our budget to hire a part-time person, maybe July, August, maybe 2 months, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. And I would find out from Supan what the actual best times, because it was usually open like 10 to 1 during the week, maybe weekends. And hire someone to work part-time in there at $15 an hour. My gut feeling is there might be one of the volunteers that might want to do that. I haven't talked to that person yet, but Sue thought it was a good idea. I mean, we're paying for utilities there, we're paying for insurance on the building, we're talking about putting a new roof or repairing the roof on it. It needs some reorganization, maybe a little house cleaning in there of stuff that maybe is duplicated, older. But it's a nice little museum, the school has some field trips there. I think it's a little asset here that we need to embellish a little bit. We've got great history here and we're kind of brushing it under the carpet.
Also on that roof, we're talking about the library too. And, let's see, Linda's not here, but I was watching a woman go up the steps today, and she goes all the way over to the one side, and as she's going up, and the roof that's there now is dripping on her. And so what we have is definitely not adequate, and it either needs to just be gone, or let's bring the eave across from the left there all the way across and bring it out over the steps completely or something like that. I don't know if there's a library board or something, that maybe they wanna weigh in on that. But that needs to be addressed also here in the next couple of months, and do something with that. But what do you think about the museum? We were gonna do a roof on the museum.
Yeah. That-
once we figure out, I think, what the library wants to do, we can get proposals to do both roofs, whatever we're gonna do there, but as far as manning it, that Mrs. McLaughlin's put forward, I think that we should do something with it, it's there,
It is. It needs people in there, it needs,
some attention.
yeah, I mean, it's right there, it's in a great spot, people are in and out of the library, there's no reason they can't be in and out of the museum.
You know, open a couple days a week, like I say, for,
I'm trying to remember, and I'll get with Sue, I don't remember if they were open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but if it's set and we know someone's gonna be there, then it can be advertised, and put pictures on our webpage, blah, blah, blah. Did you make a motion, Steve?
no.
Oh,
Because I don't know what we wanted to do yet, but I mean, I'm for us doing something there. We wanna do, like I said, $15 an hour up to 3 hours a day, 2 days or 3 days a week, kind of thing, for a period of 8 or 10 weeks.
how about $15 for 15 hours a week? Well, 16 hours a week would be 4 days of 4 hours. From July 1st through August 30th. So 60 days, 8 weeks.
That sounds good.
And then this-
I'll second your motion.
You talked to Mrs. Payne, what days?
Oh, I asked her if what she thought of the idea like 3 weeks ago. She's already called me and said, what have you decided?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I know well enough to know that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Mr. Abram? Aye, okay. Motion carried. This time we'll have our public comment. Yes, sir.
Haven't seen any proposal what the cost is to update the groomer building, so it meets code and be a fire station.
So
Have you
at
looked
this,
into that? What the
No.
cost factors are?
no, we're just looking for square footage for storage right now. Yes, sir.
During your department reports, Lynn's not here, but as a library board member, we submitted a building lease agreement probably last October, maybe September. And we're waiting on somebody to do something about it.
I thought we got a signature on it, but if you need one with a signature, I'll get you one.
Okay, and then the other thing is, we also have to have an agreement on how Lynn's paid. Basically, you guys pay her, but we make the decision on how you pay her.
And I believe there was a contract on that.
Yes, there was.
But every meeting we've been, we've not seen one, have
Right.
We
I will,
haven't received the.
we? We haven't received
Okay.
anything,
Okay,
okay.
yeah, that was done a long time ago.
your meeting's tomorrow?
Yes.
Tomorrow, yeah, change tomorrow.
What time is it?
3.
Okay. I'll make sure you have them tomorrow, and I've got your updated budget through today's
Okay,
bills.
and then one other thing is, road committee, I understand, they had a meeting today or yesterday?
Today,
Oh,
Today?
we didn't get a report from them.
And you didn't get a report from them, and, because I know they're discussing a new road.
Let's have a report from the road committee.
well, the new road is the North Road, which has been talked about at the,
No. A road from Diller Road
Oh,
to
that-
Needle Point.
that is an issue that we're chatting about. There's nothing's gonna happen to that for quite some time. That's just open conversation for that right now,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Just, any idea where we're at with the community church? I mean, I know I went back to the school. Edgar, you were working on that, where that's been left at?
That, Quabbin has ownership of it now. And Tracy was going to, or Stacy, sorry, was going to her board, and I've not heard a thing since. So it's on my list to do, because she's retired in June, and so I wanted it off the plate before that.
Okay, everything, I mean, the last thing, I think there was somebody here that was
They
gonna,
do have ownership of it now, Jim.
they do have ownership of it?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, maybe to just complete our file on that church, which which is kind of historical in itself. Maybe a copy of that deed showing that they now own it would be a good ending piece to have in our file, just as a record.
I can ask her for it, yes.
I mean, probably could get a copy from the Register of Deeds in this
Sure.
county, but maybe she could just
I
make
was
us a
hoping she
copy.
would call me by now, but maybe they haven't decided yet, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't know yet.
Any other public comment? Mr. Soder?
We're not using the audio system, and I assume it must be broke, or, I know it doesn't work.
Well, Lee brought a cord in to me a few weeks ago, and one of the prongs was broken off of it. Whatever goes from
It's on
the
the top one to the bottom one.
black box.
Okay.
I just know it had a little transformer thing in it. It was a little black square one that plugged in.
Okay.
And actually, I asked Dan Edwards when he was helping with the videotaping, and he took a picture of it and has a comparable plug.
I see that
So
it was
that's
on, he was
all I
on the
could-
bottom of the minutes, that's why I was wondering if somebody was looking at it.
Um,
Because that was redone, what, 5, 6 years ago? And I don't remember who paid at that time. The township paid, I thought, but I'm not sure.
I
Is it-
think Bingo paid half and the township paid
Is that
half
what it was?
for the
Okay.
new speakers
Yeah.
and that setup. And we would have used that tonight, but we found that the camera records and picks up tiny, tiny sounds, so we were not worried about using the microphones tonight.
Okay. You could check with him, yeah, because
He'll be tomorrow, he'll be here
Okay.
tomorrow.
I think Bingo probably uses it more than the township does, but,
You know, it seems to work fine for Bingo.
no, it doesn't work. Well, it did work, but like I said, a few weeks ago or whatever, I wasn't around and I was told it wasn't working.
I think it's that plug, because Lee brought it in and said
Okay.
it's broke off.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of the AA meeting on Sunday nights. We've been meeting for about 8 months now, and it's been well received. It's been a little quiet in the winter months, but we've been gaining members, have been coming back, and we got quite a bit of vacation members too, from visitors last year in the summertime, so we're putting an average together to see what kind of income that we got. We wanna pay some rent coming up soon here, so we're gonna make a donation.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
The road committee, since my road was paved, my driveway has not been improved. I have too much drop, trailers bottom out, coming out, and this has been going on since it was paved. You informed me, the county said they wouldn't do anything about it.
Yep,
But
exactly.
nobody's gave me any correspondence stating that it was not done. So that needs to be handled.
I'll get a hold of Dirk. I'll have Dirk send him a letter, because they already told me that what's there is great, and they're not gonna do anything. And I'll get that in writing.
So I
Steve,
need
I'll get
to-
it to you, so
So I
you
can
can pass it on.
move over the road. And when they lie to you,